This just in, Caitlin Clark is out for at least 2 weeks with a quad injury. So this is being reported like wildfire, and it has just broken that Caitlin Clark is out with a left quad strain. Now, she was out also with a quad issue in one preseason game, which was the first game that Caitlin Clark had ever missed in her collegiate or professional career, though it was not an in-season game, and that was also due to tightness in her quad. This is an actual quad strain. According to reports, it is not the same injury, though it is kind of odd that it is on the same muscle, and depending on the grade, they're graded grades 1, 2, and 3. Grade 3 needs surgery. 2 weeks, I think, would be the minimum that she would be out with a quad strain. But according to Chloe Peterson, she reports the Indiana Fever guard Caitlin Clark has suffered a left quadriceps strain and will be out for a minimum of 2 weeks, the team announced today. Further updates will be provided as available following re-evaluation. And the team did practice today, so it might have been something that was either re-aggravated from the prior injury, even though they did mention that it was not related, or just a whole new strain. People are noting that a grade 1 quad strain is 1 to 2 weeks, a grade 2 quad strain is 3 to 6 weeks, and grade 3s would need surgery. This is not like the end of the world of injuries at all. I think what is so dark about this is that Caitlin Clark will definitely be missing a lot of basketball in a short WNBA season. Obviously, the best thing to do is to rest her so that when she does come back, she is fully healed and the injury can't get worse. Though it is hard to measure when these types of injuries are better, I will say having a quadricep injury is much better than having like a calf injury or a hamstring injury. And I have to say that I did notice in the Liberty game, Caitlin Clark's shots were all very short. So it was showing that she wasn't like getting off and she was having a difficult time making those threes, and a lot of explosiveness from those 3-point shots does come from your legs. Her shot was just so obviously off, and for it to be short, it kind of makes a little sense. Now, getting into the basketball elements and how this affects the Indiana Fever, it does make me a little worried because the Indiana Fever do not have a backup playmaker anywhere near the level of Caitlin Clark. Sophie did come in the game, in the preseason game where Caitlin Clark was missing, and she did show some glimpses of being able to do it. I saw Sophie kind of taking over against the Liberty, and I did not see those same glimpses. And it is kind of obvious, and it always worries me when Caitlin Clark is not running the point because the team, and I've said this before, the team looks like a train without a conductor. There's a lot of ISOing going on. The motion offense or offense just looks a lot sloppier. And last season, whenever Caitlin Clark would go out for a rest, I always felt myself very worried for what the team was going to do. And I feel kind of the same way this season. The only bright side is the timing of the injury, at least for the way that the game is going, because we are all hoping for the best for Caitlin Clark. This is nowhere near the level of an ACL injury, so she can come back and still be like the explosive playmaker, the explosive 3-point shooter, the explosive like player that she is. But the only bright side to the time is the timing of the injury, because their schedule up until June 14th is pretty light. On the 28th, the Indiana Fever will be playing the Mystics. On the 30th, they are playing the Connecticut Sun, who have not won a game. On the 3rd, they're playing the Mystics again. On the 7th, they are playing the Chicago Sky, who have also not won a game. On the 10th, they're playing the Atlanta Dream. That might be a little difficult. And on the 14th, they're going to run it back against the New York Liberty. So up until the 14th, I do see these games against the Sun and against the Mystics and against the Sky as winnable games. But if anything, this should be a lesson to the league and a lesson to the officiating, because the amount of contact that is allowed without a foul call and the amount of physicality that Caitlin Clark has to battle through being double teamed and triple teamed, and honestly, it's mostly just not being called for these fouls, needs to be assessed. Caitlin Clark is the league's star player, whether you like it or not. It shows in the bottom line. It shows in the revenue. It shows in the viewership numbers. Every which way you turn, it shows. And as the league star player, she should not be bullied around or ragdolled, just pushed around like she is. There is an undeniable disparity in the officiating. I mean, think about the Kobe whistle in the NBA. No one touched him without an issue. I remember Draymond Green saying if anything happened to Steph, Draymond Green would get up in a player's face. That's not to say that there shouldn't be fairness in the officiating. Yes, Caitlin Clark should be called for fouls, but the fairness is what is being disputed here, in that she is being pushed around and not being calling, and that only hurts the league. It only hurts the eyes on the league because she is the star player. Like in the Atlanta game, it almost seemed like the strategy was to just like hack them and like kind of get up in Caitlin Clark's face by like all the hand checks and things that just were not called. So hopefully this is a wake-up call to the league. I talk about this a lot in my videos. I talk about it a lot in my lives, and I'm always talking about how I'm always lighting a candle for her health, because her health is of the utmost importance, 1, to her and her career, 2, to the WNBA's success, and 3, as the key playmaker for the Indiana Fever. I mean, it even shows in how much better Aaliyah Boston is this year. Aaliyah Boston has taken a significant leap in her career, and a lot of it is due to Caitlin Clark finding her, feeding her in the court. Because at least in the Liberty game, I noticed that it was Caitlin who was finding Aaliyah to make these plays and to generate the buckets. I don't know, I kind of think that the Indiana Fever might be looking for some sort of like a backup point guard in the middle of the season, because that is, they are going to most likely make a move mid-season, because they did not have the cap space to find anybody to really back Caitlin up, and Sid Colson is not that person. So this could be a wake-up call for the Indiana Fever as well. They might do some mid-season trades, or they might just have a pickup and grab someone on the roster at half the salary they would have to pay them if they had picked them up in the beginning of the season. And Stephanie White, when talking about players' injuries, she does talk about playing the long game, keeping Sophie Cunningham out for a longer stretch than what a lot of people thought was needed. So I'm feeling optimistic that she will keep Caitlin Clark out for as long as she needs to become healthy. In the meantime, the Indiana Fever will have to step it up without their key playmaker on the court. Sophie Cunningham has shown she can rev a crowd up, she can come off that bench and spark some energy into the team and into the fans. I don't know that she'll actually be coming off the bench with Caitlin Clark being out. She might actually start. Lexi Hull has worked herself into a starting position. Her defense is pesky. And while I don't see her having the passing IQ anywhere near Caitlin Clark, she's tough, she's a blue-collar girl, and she can make a big impact on the court. Aaliyah Boston, I think the rest of the team needs to start looking out for her and feeding her the ball, because her pick and rolls, her ability to like bully through the paint, like when she went up against Jonquel Jones, I was very impressed. And she is an elite big in this league, has taken a huge leap from last season. Natasha Howard, she's been a little streaky. She had a great game against Atlanta. She needs to be able to come in and make those finishes, in addition to the great rebounding she's already doing. DeWanna Bonner needs to get her shooting in order. I think DeWanna Bonner has had the yips for the past few games, although in the last game, her rebounding and her defense were big difference makers against the New York Liberty. I was thinking that they were going to start testing out Michaela Timpson in the Mystics for a lot of the rookie-on-rookie crime going on, but I think that maybe this might be a time where they can test her out and see what she is made of, and if she can come in and make a seamless transition from college to the pros, especially with that giant wingspan she has. Kelsey Mitchell has been kind of streaky. She's still been putting up the numbers, but Kelsey Mitchell is the best when she is just playing catch and shoot off of Caitlin Clark's playmaking. Also, I don't know if you guys can hear, but my dog is barking at Hugo. But Kelsey Mitchell, I think, needs to stop ISOing. I mean, she's gotten a lot better than she was at the beginning of last season, but Coach White needs to write plays for Kelsey Mitchell to be more of a catch and shoot, high efficiency scorer. But no matter how you frame it, Caitlin Clark's injury is a big blow to not only the Indiana Fever, but to the WNBA itself.